Hello, welcome to Flory Models daily vlog. Here we are on Tuesday morning, and yes, the roofers are back today, so that puts pay to filming. They were completely rained out yesterday, as you know. Well, it didn't look like it in the video in the morning, absolutely torrential rain. So they're back to finish off over the next couple of days, so a bit more banging than that, but it gives me a time, as we said, this week going to be somewhat not a lot of filming going on. Obviously I'll do reviews and bits and pieces, but from my point of view, playing big catch up. I've got some big projects to do. Obviously we've got to finish off the group builds as they're ending now. I've got to do the videos for them, so I'll do the full montage videos, the bits and pieces for those. I can do those this week. Finish off the editing for the Osprey. To be honest, I did some yesterday, but I've got to do the finishing touches. So I'm going to show you how, probably about lunchtime, how I actually shoot the videos, because you might notice now we don't use photographs. Yeah, we take a couple of stills, but that's off of the video. So I set up like a little booth, and we have the turntable and have the model spinning on it and that. So I'll show you a little bit about that later. But generally, thank you very much for all the feedback on yesterday's one. Trying something a little bit different. And like I've explained, I've been answering everyone's questions as well. So if you ask me a question during that vlog and all the rest of it on the forum, obviously I've been down there and we've posted up about what the car is as well. Is a Nissan Qashqai I was driving and everything else. But generally answering all your bits and pieces in there. And the big feedback, you love that thing about me being out and about, seeing behind the scenes and all stuff like that. I actually really enjoy doing it. It's a very creative, guys who know me know when I do air shows, I always take my big cameras with me and I film a lot of stuff. And I don't just film aircraft, I film just general stuff as well, to give a more sort of behind the scenes thing. And it's something I'd love to do more of. Okay, and I don't just mean doing sort of air shows, but I might then start doing model shows. Instead of us having stands, as a lot of you know, we don't have stands in all the model shows anymore, but I might just take the camera along and film it from a vlog point of view instead of a sales point of view and stuff like that. You know, and obviously Telford, we do a lot of behind the scenes, but hopefully now you can get what I was trying to do. And I know a lot of you were very much like, whoa, hold on a minute, we don't want this vlog stuff and camera angles and wonky and all everything else like that. But the whole point of it is it's never going to detach from what we had before. It's not like I'm stopping doing the studio thing with all the lighting and cameras and everything else like that, because that is the polished side of the business, and that is our bread and butter. Technically that's what you're paying for as members and everything else like that. But what I wanted to do was also bring in the human side of it as well. The thing where we are all modelers, and what I was trying to do was to bring us into that type of thing where when I first started this in the late 90s, early 2000s, God, it seems ever now, but it was, I just wanted a way of bringing modelers together. That was the whole point of it. And as I said, I think I was either the first or one of the first people to put things on YouTube and stuff like that. And the whole point of it is how to share that technique. But very quickly the site grew and the various things, and members joined us. And I remember us getting up to 500, then 1,000, then 2,000, then 3,000 members and things like that. And the big feedback you get from people is that it's like a real sort of community, a club feel to it and everything else like that. So I was always trying to strive of finding a better way to bring that over. I didn't want me sort of, you know, sat in front of a studio and this is how it is and everything else. I wanted it to feel that you were here. That's the whole point of it. You know, that, you know, you're part of this, because you are at the end of the day as paying members into this site. It sounds horrible when you say paying members. I really hate that, because technically you're not paying members, you're all my friends. But it is that friend thing where I can take you with me. So some days I might take you off in the car if we're going somewhere and that, and I might just yap to you, you know, and we can talk various bits and pieces. And obviously we're always going to keep it modelling related and stuff like that. But it is just that thing, and we do have a very nice family feel here. And obviously I have the guys around here a lot, and you guys, when you're passing, you always tend to drop in and things. And I've always got time to stop, couple of hours, have a coffee and a chinwag. And that's what I want to do for everybody. So that was the whole point of doing the vlogs, is that I can then sit here like I'm doing now and talk to you like you and my best mate sat there. And that's the whole point to it, because that's what I want to do. It's all part of this big, I don't know, I used to call it the world system, because everything revolves around it. You have modelling in the middle and you have all your bits running around the outside of it. And we spoke about it a couple of years ago doing this. And it is still literally like that. It's our little bubble. So when the day is crap, quite frankly, and you've had a bad day at the office, or you've got trouble with a family and all those things, the whole point of it is that you could literally just go off into your man cave or wherever you do it, or kitchen table, wherever, and shut the door, and you're in this world. So there's no stress, there's no horribles. And if your model's going badly and it's crap and all the rest of it, you don't have to do it. You can just watch us or look at the guy's stuff on here and all the other bits and pieces like that. And that's really what we're trying to do. So by doing it this way, it's just that extra little dimension into it. And various things, but I have got some plans obviously in the summer and the various bits and pieces like that where I'm gonna take you out and about with me and things like that, so you can see a little bit more, and you know, perhaps if we're doing like air shows and various stuff like that, and we can talk you through it and somewhat string it together. Not saying it's all going to be free just out there, because I'll just keep it for the members as well, because you guys are kind enough to allow me to almost do this, to put it out to everybody else. And that is the thing, you guys are the ambassadors for allowing me to do this, because without you I couldn't physically do it. So you know, it is up to you guys. Anyway, been through, answered loads of your questions, all your bits and pieces in there. We've now agreed that the universal name for the Protas on the Osprey are commonly known as sails. Okay, so we've got a couple of texts, and it's not just one person, because I had one guy who worked on them, we call them Protas. I have another guy who said, no, we call them sails. And I've had another one of the members has mentioned it, I think it's still up here, what photo up here, talking to the techs who work on them, they call them sails as well. Okay, so that's what I can see. But this is what we're talking about with them. I wish that Hasegawa had allowed this fold up, even just to fold the blades in. Forget spinning the roof, although it does it, but if you could fold the blades up. So I reckon a quick aftermarket job to do that wouldn't be too hard at all. I know the brake is part way in the actual prop, it's not just, you know, on the end bits, but I think a simple cap or even a resin solid aftermarket one to do that would be really, really nice. You know, but as I said, a lot of you mentioned about it. I'd love to see now a 1/32 one. Can you imagine that 1/32? I know I said yesterday it'd be too big. No, it wouldn't. It would be absolutely stunning, phenomenal size and all the rest of it. And as you can say, this is the Air Force version, so it's got the actual different colour scheme. It's in the dark grey with that sort of, you know, with a very light underside, where the navy stuff tends to go with the ghost greys and everything else like that. But that's one of the UK based ones out of Maidenhall. So there we go, that's that. So I've answered everybody's questions down in there. I think we've covered it all. As I say, Nissan Qashqai, I absolutely love it. The other thing as well that came up was about the rotor base that I use, which is that guy you can see down there that normally spins round and all the rest of it. I put the details up on the actual site, but I've got it up here as well. It's a turntable. It's made by a company called AutoArt. Okay, this one here is 26 quid. Now, they are quite expensive, but bearing in mind that thing's probably been around the planet more times than Phileas Fogg did, because it's always running. You can plug it in the mains as well, and your bits and pieces if you want to. Very straightforward. It runs off of one of the big D-type batteries down in there, and you can just do it like that. But say I've left that running at shows for literally 2 or 3 days, running solid at shows, no problem at all. It sits here and it's running a lot of the time, and now I use it for doing the photos, because it's a quality piece, shall we say. I have got somewhere, and I think I reviewed it, didn't I? It's the trumpeter one, which are like 10 quid, but it does this. It's like a, you know, an old warp record player going around. But this is the one, it's made by AutoArt. This is the 1/24 scale in black. They do different finishes on the top. This has got fluff, but mine literally now must be 20 odd years old. But they do big ones. I don't know if they got one down here. Yeah, 1/18 scale one as well down in here, but it's 41 quid. And I say you can have different ones. There's the one that I bought. This is the they call it a master tool, but it's Trumpeter's company, but they're £14. You can get them even cheaper on eBay and all the rest of it, but I couldn't find this particular one on eBay in this scale, but they're on Amazon. They've got them down here as well. So it's a 26 quid, 2 quid delivery on Amazon if you want to do it that way. I have put a link down there. There's another Trumpeter turntable. They do, everyone does do them, but they tend to be, you get the rock, and if I'm honest, I've got the other one. The mirror bit isn't that good, but I can show you a little bit closer on this guy. Right, I'm still having the saga with the lights. I've actually taken the filters off of them now just to brighten this up, but this is the guy. We just move that out of the way. Now I know mine is horrible, it's covered in fluff and got a dent in it, and that's when we were moving, but basically that's what it is. Okay, and then down under here you just have a D battery, that's what runs mine. Then you've got a cog, and you can put this one over here and it makes it go fast, or you can have it on here and it makes it go slow, because down in here you've got, you might be able to see the teeth on the gears. And then when you line this up properly, the other thing as well, if you look, it's got nice smooth rollers on it, and those roll really, really well. And then I can find my on-off switch. Where's my on-off switch? Just down under here, you have a little on-off switch. And you say, that battery's actually a new one in there. And then it takes loads of weight as well, if I'm honest. And it just sits on here. But if you notice, there is no wobble to it. Some of them, they have a horrendous wobble on them. And they end up sort of, you know, rolling up and down and all the rest of it. But you say, I've got a big dent in mine in the base surface. And it does get covered in fluff and everything else, but it's a nice speed. As I say, you can speed it up, but you have got as well, I don't know what voltage it is down there, but you have got a mains feed if you wanted to feed it off the mains. Let me see it under there, just down there like that. But there we go, that is the little stand. So yes, there we go. So, let me turn that guy off. So this morning, as I say, roofers are in, God help us, they'll be smashing the hell out the front of the house later. So I can't do anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off the Osprey, going to set up a little studio here, and I'll show you that anyway, okay, and everything else, and we can do that. Once that's done, I can finish off the editing for it, so it's up with ready for you tomorrow. Don't know how many parts this is going to be in yet. I might edit it down so there's just one more part, or I might string it and get 2 more parts out of it. Just depends which way we actually work the final bit of the editing for the final reveal photos and that, i.e. how much time I waffle. If it's over 45 minutes, it then flicks over to the next video. If it's under, that's fine. All right, and we'll do it like that. But there we go. But again, thank you so much for all your feedback on everything. Very much appreciated. At least I know I'm going in the right direction with everything now. So anyway, I'll catch you a little bit later on, and I'll show you about photographing this. Okay, so just finished editing part 6 of the actual Osprey build. Now, as I say, it's a long-winded part 6 talking about using the wash with an enamel together. Okay, so I was going to cut it down. Originally, it wasn't going to be as long as it was, but I think it's quite important to show the effects you can get. And with this particular effect of using the wash dry, it's very much like dry brushing. It's one of those things where you build it up really slowly. So I've kept it in real time, basically, and shown how to do it. So there will be another part after this one, which is going to be another half-an-hour part. So it will be a 7-parter in total. You can see now actually painting the wash on there. It's very reminiscent to doing the old sort of way of weathering back in the day when you just slap down basically oil paint and drag it all around your model. Well, imagine doing that with the clay wash, but when it's dry and there's no risk to it. So anyway, that's done, so that's editing now, so I can't do much more to that. So around here, what I'm going to do is show you now about how I do the camera setup, which is a lot more simple than you think. I know a lot of you guys out there have got really expensive camera rigs, and you've got, you know, various light boxes and all those things, which are great, and don't get me wrong, everybody has their different ways of doing it, but with me, because I'm using filming from day to day, if I was to suddenly switch to photos and go and start editing them and all the rest of it, probably not going to look like my model at the end of it, to be honest. So what I try and do is show you in the rawest form possible exactly what it is. So as if you were here looking at it. So recently, we've been doing a lot of video work and putting it on the turntable and spinning it and all the rest of it and doing it like that. Then the only thing I tend to do in post is slow it down. I don't make any alterations to the colour or anything, editing or anything else like that. It's literally raw as you would see it, because otherwise it just wouldn't look the same. And the same way, to be honest, when I do stills, I'm not one of these guys who's got a big expensive DSLR cameras. In fact, I don't own one. Okay, I've literally got point and shoot, you know, Canon jobs like I'm shooting, to be honest, on you now. It's just a small one, and I've just click photo, everything's auto, and that's it. So what I'm going to do, set this up. You can see me set it up and see just how simple and easy it is. To be honest, the people often say to me about photography and all the rest of it, all you need is the simplest background possible, and that's what I use. I'm using black. I go through phases. I used to use blue, then we've used white, but I always seem to come back to black. Black is quite a neutral colour in the world of modelling, and it just gives things, I don't know, a better projection. I don't like them on white, if I'm honest. White backgrounds always look very sterile to me, you know, very sort of apple. But basically, I prefer the black. It's nice and smooth. Or say you can use blues or whatever, but you just need a good contrast colour, so I like the black. So anyway, I'm going to show you my expensive setup studio right now. Okay, and that is literally it, and I've never tried with this camera, but obviously it is on a little tripod. You can then just bend it down, zoom in. I love the slow zoom on this, very nice. Okay, so you've got that one going around there now, and then what I'll do is, normally I will take it off. I might even use this footage yet. Sorry about that. Okay, and then we'll just hold it down. Now, the thing is, if you've ever got a situation where every time you take a video or whatever you want to do, okay, you end up with this, and you got bits off. Okay, so what happens is when you're zooming in, no matter where you are, you've always got these bits over here and over here. If you come further away and then zoom in, and to be honest, that's 2 times zoom, as you can see, we don't get them anymore. And you can just hold it literally just there. Okay, and if I come further out and zoom in even further, we have no problem with background, even though I'm standing a long way away now, and I know I'm shaking and all the rest of it, but you'd have it on a tripod, okay, and all the rest of it. But when you're in close, what can happen is you get the old fisheye vision. So I like to use like a 2 times zoom for pretty much when I'm in close to things as well. So when we're getting nice and close, you can see it just running around like this. To be honest, I use that. That is my beast for doing it. That's for the camera that we actually use for all the big recording and everything else. To say it does absolutely everything. This little handheld one, I might just give this a whirl just to see what happens. So I'm literally just now leaning down, but you can see what I mean. We've got all this background on both sides. We don't want that, so we're just going to come back here. I've got my elbows on the table, and we're going to zoom in. I've got a little bit of a crinkle at the top, which I need to get rid of. But there we go, that's it. Simple as that. Really, really simple photography and all the rest of it. Okay. And then obviously if we wanted to take stills, I don't know, there's still stills at the same time. Hold on, when it comes round, I'll catch it. See if we can take a still off of this, and if it has, obviously I'll put it into the edit. But as you can see, really, really simple setup. And then when you look at the big picture all the way round, that's it. Now from my point of view, obviously we've got a situation of lighting. So we have a big light up here. This is one of the big LED banks, is that one. And then we have another one over there, which is on its way out. And that's it. Oh, and also we have the sun, which is really our big studio light, which is that big thing there. So all 3 bits of light work really, really well. But what I would suggest, obviously, is just take it outside. Daylight is beautiful for doing your models on and all the rest of it. And as you can see, they are cutting merry hell outside. All right. So anyway, there we go. So from my point of view, now I am going to do that. I'll get the recording done for that one. I'm going to have a go at doing it now, and then what I'll do is that I'm going to clear all this away. Right, somebody's outside the window. Okay, and then what we're actually going to do is set up everything for this afternoon's Q&A, because obviously I'm doing a Q&A this afternoon as well, and then you'll get the recording of that. That'll be separate to this show. No Steve today, unfortunately. He's away. He's away photographizing on a bit of a thing, so he's not at home. So consequently, it's just me, myself, and I with you tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my questions and me and Steve's questions together, and if there's any directly for Steve, what we'll do is we'll roll those over with you next week. So there we go. So to say, just a vlog day today. There's no actual proper news show tonight because obviously with the Q&A going up there. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed today. A few little pointers and all the bits and pieces. Join me again tomorrow, where hopefully it won't be quite as noisy as it is today, but definitely I'll catch you all tonight for tonight's Q&A.